Kory Keefer. We're so excited to have you on the podcast, especially because this romance with Sam, which Danny and I are so obsessed with, it's finally starting to show up on the show. How are you feeling now that you two are out and about? You don't have to keep it a secret anymore. It must be the best.
It is. Well, thank you for having me on the show today. I appreciate that.
Yes.
And yeah, it's actually fun and very exciting to let it be known to the public. We were keeping it a secret to an extent, and we didn't know, like, once we make it official, we're gonna be, in the public eye, and now we're gonna, is all the shit that comes with that. So I was a little scared, I think, more than her, but I'm super, super excited, and it's been amazing so far. So
and kind of with you being excited but scared of everybody's reaction, and of course you're worried about like the public and the viewers' reactions. Was like all of your summer house crew, were they all super excited for you guys? Because I'm assuming they knew before everybody else did too.
yeah, of course. I mean, like we've been dating for a while. We just didn't make it, like, put a title on it. We've been dating since last year, but didn't say, hey, you're boyfriend, girlfriend. So we've been very close for a while, and so everyone kind of knew. Anytime I'm in New York, we're out together, and if we go to any event, they're seeing both of us together. So I think everyone kind of understood, but without saying it. So then when we made it boyfriend, girlfriend, nothing changed between us. It was the exact same thing, except now everyone knows about it. So
What was it like going through the winter house cycle and you're dating Sam, but your flirtations with Jess are playing out on the show, and then you have to talk about Jess in interviews and then keep Sam a secret because she isn't even announced as a cast member yet? What was the toughest part of that, and how did you guys work through that?
So one of the funniest parts, to be honest with you, I don't even know if she's told anyone this, was at Bravocon. I was kind of like still under the radar at Bravocon. So I'm walking around with Sam, and people were like taking pictures of me. I'm like, oh my God, Jess. And I'm like, no. And she's like, I'm just a friend. And so she took it so well. She didn't get mad about that. She told me she's never watched Winter House. So we've talked very briefly about it, but she was like, honestly, which I praise her for this, is saying, like, I don't want to like have any sort of like ill will feelings to something that you did before you met me. And I commend her for that so much, because I know how hard that would be to watch it happen, even though she knows that happened before her. It seems like it's in real time, but it's not. So we kind of discussed it, and she's like, as long as we're good, then I don't care what you did before me. And I respect the hell out of her for that. And I think that's why our relationship has been built such in a good foundation. Is I've been in relationships in the past where they harped on something I did before I met them. And it's like, look, I didn't know you at that point. So how are you going to judge me with hooking up with someone or doing something before I even knew you existed? And she's been amazing on that. So I can't thank her enough for not letting that like spoil what we had together. So
I commend her emotional strength for that, because if I was her, I'd be freeze framing on Winter House every night. You would be waking up and be like, so what about this moment? So good on her. That is a good foundation. But I like that, because what I feel about the two of you is you both are, of course, like very like gorgeous, confident, fun, but there is that very sensitive side to the two of you that comes out. Like she says, she's been saying a lot in Summer House about her insecurities, which she's opening up about. And I think it was this past week's episode, you were saying that you had a lot of insecurities growing up, being like the cute little friend. So I do like that. Did you kind of feel an instant, not just connection, but like a beyond the surface level between the two of you? Or is that a more so over time?
So at first, I think we both thought it was going to be like a summer fling, to be honest with you. I'm coming into house for Kyle's birthday, not knowing if I'm coming back. I thought it was kind of like a one and done thing. So I'm like, all right, what hot girls are going to be here? Let's have a fun weekend, And then, coming back, that kind of built, and we're like, all right, we're very similar on the energy side of things. But we both have so many layers to each other, and we were not judgy to open that up to each other, so it's like we have a super good communication stream of like, all right, if you say a little bit of this, I'll say a little bit of that. So it's like we both kind of give a little bit, and then we're receiving the same. So I think that helped like open up of us of like, being more vulnerable in what we're afraid of, or what we, are insecure about. So
What I love about you for Sam, Kory, is that you seem to bring out the best in her. She was saying on the show how you sort of encourage the sides of her that she felt she had to suppress in previous relationships. And she spoke about earlier in the season, which I don't know if you had any reaction to it, but she had an ex saying that she has terrible teeth and was telling her not to smile. Like, it seems like she's really like been through the ringer in her past relationships. So love that she found you. And I just kind of want to know, what is it about Sam's personality that you were immediately attracted to? Because it seems like the parts of herself that she was insecure about, you love the most.
Yeah, I mean, and I think her energy is like what I was attracted to the most. The first day I met her, I was like, of course, this is a beautiful girl. Her eyes, amazing. Those beautiful blue eyes, like, was the first thing I was attracted to. But then when we were out, she was just like, we went to like this club that wasn't as fun, and all the girls are kind of like, and then she's over there just like dancing in circles, like, hey, like we're having, and I'm like, okay, this girl is like, she doesn't let other things bother her, and she's just very confident in who she is. And we all have shortcomings and little things that we don't like about ourselves. And it's like, I don't harp on that. It's like, I want to bring out the best in you, and we'll figure out what you're insecure about later. Like, let's just bring out the best in each other. And I think that's healthy. And then like a strong relationship is that you make the other person better and not afraid to let them be great. And I think a lot of times people don't want the other partner to outshine them, or to like, and I'm okay with that. Like, her take the center stage, and I'll be her support system. And she lets me do that in different ways. So, I'm not afraid that she's, a strong, awesome, big personality girl, where, I have that same attribute, but it helps each other, I think.
I love
really
you
nice
saying that.
Oh no, go ahead, Danny. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I love you saying that story about her kind of dancing at the club everyone else is being bored at, because there definitely is a very refreshing element that Sam brings to this season of Summer House, where she's like, can we all just have some fun, everybody, and really getting to know everyone. And I was wondering if you have seen the moment, or if you've talked to her about between her and Maya, when Maya's kind of like, can you take it down a notch, and your thoughts on that? Because I feel like me watching at home, I was kind of like, oh, that just happened.
Yeah, so it was weird. We didn't talk about that beforehand, and I'm good friends with Maya, and I saw it kind of when you guys saw it, and I texted her immediately and was like, yo, how do you feel about this? And she was like, in the moment, it hurt to hear. She was like, I think she was coming from a good place, but when someone kind of talks about your personality, a personality trait, it's hard to, it's not like, hey, I don't like your shirt that you're wearing. It's like, all right, well, the shirt. When you're saying, oh, you talk too much, it's like, well, that's kind of my personality. So it stung, but I understand like being hurt in that situation, but she didn't let it like ruin their friendship, or, I think it was a thing that Maya, I think, was coming from a good place, but communicated it very wrong.
Yeah. Kory, I feel like you dating Sam has the potential to really shake up the dynamic on Summer House, like for like seasons to come, because Sam is very close with Lindsay. You're obviously very close with Craig, who's dating Paige, and Paige and Lindsay are on the polar opposite sides of the house. It seems like things are a bit divisive currently. What do you think of the division, and are you up for trying to sort of broker peace in this group?
It's funny you say that, because Sam and I have talked about this multiple times, because there is such a division. And we went to Lindsay's Barry's boot camp class 2 weeks ago. And, like, of course, no one else was there, or that side of the people weren't there. And I'm like, let's get along. Like, I want to bring the energy that's like, okay, we have differences, but like when we're together, like, let's have fun. And I think it's going to be a tough task, but I think Sam and I are like the right people to bring everyone together. And as you've seen in these couple episodes, we've kind of done that a little bit, where we're bringing everyone kind of more into that mesh of like, all right, summer's supposed to be fun. Let's actually like make that happen. It's going to be tough though, because there's years and years of like built up frustration and drama that, Sam and I weren't a part of and didn't really know about. So we're kind of walking into the situation being like, all right, this is weird, but I love both sides of it. I'm really close with Paige and Craig and Sierra and all them, but I'm getting to know Carl and Lindsay really well too. And we're hanging out, and I have no problems with either one. So.
And when you were kind of, because obviously Paige and Lindsay have not been eye to eye for a little bit now, like you said, but Lindsay and Danielle, I feel it's kind of the one that everybody, when the trailer came out for Summer House a few months ago, everyone was shocked at that. And kind of you were in the moments where it was actively kind of crumbling. what were your thoughts on all that? And do you and Sam talk about like what could happen there, if anybody's in the right, or kind of what the hell's going on?
It was weird. We walked in the house and I briefly knew Lindsay from last winter, but didn't know her that well. Had no idea who Danielle was. And I'm coming into the situation being like, oh, there's some issues happening here. And I'm like, let's take some shots. What do we do? I think that both of them have the right heart. I think that they should be friends and that they need to be friends. And I think Danielle's coming from a place of hurt and she's like meaning well. She's communicating it very wrong and going about how she's dealing with these issues wrong. And I think that this should have been addressed almost immediately, and it could have gotten over it, and it could be fine versus dragging out the entire summer of this happening. And their communication styles are just so different on like what Danielle's feeling and how she's going about it and what Lindsay is receiving it as and how she's going. But losing a best friend or going through like a friendship, fallout is tough, especially since you guys been best friends for what, 6-7 years now. There's a lot of like to dig through, and it's sad to see, and it's one of those where like, I want everyone to be happy. So it sucks. And I see both sides of it, but someone has to kind of check their ego and just be like, okay, or do we want to be friends? If we do, we have to let bygones be bygones and we have to get over this. And I think that both of their egos are a little strong right now. So
now, hanging out with Carl and Lindsay as much as you and Sam do, does it kind of inspire those feelings of maybe we should get engaged or take this to the next level? I mean, what do you think, Kory?
I think you're putting the carriage before the horse right now.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, he's planning a wedding. That's why his head is there.
Oh, okay.
I am. Yeah, I'm in wedding planning mode. So.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to see, like, especially like Kyle and Amanda happened like a year and a half ago, and then Carl and Lindsay are happening now, that TV relationships can be successful and can happen. Cause that's a different world. When you make your relationship super public and you do it on a show, which is scary. And it's like, so I have a lot of worries on that front, but seeing the roadmap of like, all right, it can be successful. You just kind of have to do's and don'ts of what to do. It's cool to see that. And it gives me hope to be like, okay, if this keeps progressing, there is an easy, or not easy, but there is a route that can go that we can make it happen. So.
Okay. And a less pressured question than an engagement ring. we see Craig and Paige having the drama of like Charleston, New York, New York is winning for that fight. Would you be ready to do the jump to the subway? Would you be ready to have a little New York life if you and Sam are continuing going, or do you love your home down south?
So, and Sam and I talked about this. I 100% would move to New York, and she knows that. The only thing that's keeping me from moving to New York right now is like, I'm super invested in my gym. So like I have gyms, and like, I don't have a gym in New York yet. That's the goal. We're doing Charlotte currently. So that's the plan there. And then we're looking at Miami after that. And then New York's kind of on the horizon. And she knows that. So I kind of gave her a roadmap of this. So I will live in New York at one point, for sure. I mean, I feel it in my heart. I just like business wise, it would be dumb for me to like move there when all my gyms are not happening there. So that's like a true thing holding me back right now. And if I could work remote all the time, I would probably already be in New York City.
Wow, I can't wait to go to your New York gym. I need that.
It's going to be sick. Yeah.
You were saying how you and Sam kind of went into this thinking it would be nothing more than a summer fling. At what point did you realize it was serious and that this relationship did in fact have legs so much where you're like considering a New York move now?
So I think someone said, she has a roster, or she had a roster, and I kind of got like a little like butt hurt being like, wait, what does she, I was like, wait, is she going on like dates with other guys? Like what's happening there? And then, I was like, all right, so I do care more than just like a fling. Cause that I don't care. So I think that made it a little bit more like real. And then when I, started coming up to New York and I saw how easy of a trip it was, I'm like, okay, this is not that far fetched to come up every weekend or every other weekend. And then seeing how she treated me outside of the Hamptons was really cool too. And like, I think the bond of being in a summer house sometimes is weird. So it's like when you get out of that, out of that environment, that's kind of how like true feelings or true relationships can like form. And I think that was a big moment when she's like introduced me to her friends and we're going out, and it's like a cool environment outside of the cameras and connecting that way. So
Yeah, I love that. No, another thing that she said on the show is that she never wants to lose that sexual tension with you, Kory. Would you say that that honeymoon stage sexual tension, are the vibes still vibing? Is it still exciting? Like, where are you at in your relationship in terms of the connection you have? And would you say it still kind of like mirrors the fury and fire you felt in the Hamptons over the summer?
you know, she said only knew 3 words, and one of them was vibing, and we are still vibing. So the sexual tension is 100% there, and you know, we kind of keep it spicy with everything of like, you know, like I just hook up with her in public all the time. We don't like PDA, but I'll throw her like, you know, against a wall in like a club and just start making out with her of like, I don't say too much, but like I love that we like to have fun, and she doesn't hold me back. Like I said, she lets me do that because it's like that's part of my personality. Is like I'm very affectionate in those ways where we don't have to like hold hands all night or be like, you know, rubbing our noses, but like in the middle of her conversation, I'll just grab her mouth and just like start making out with her and then just walk away without saying anything, you know? So
God bless. God bless.
so that is that's high right now. And I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon at all. So
On the last episode, she did say that you two were going to go to Montauk together, and it was going to be kind of like this test. What happened in Montauk? Obviously, you passed the test.
Montauk was amazing. First time going to Montauk, we went to Surf Lodge. It was such a good vibe. I don't even know who was playing, but it was, I think Zed's Dead or something was playing, but it was an amazing vibe. And it's funny. So we hooked up our first time, like officially sealing the deal was on the beach. It was kind of like weirdly romantic. And Carl and Lindsay were there as well. We were all laying on the beach, and then like it's dark and Carl has his music playing. And then we like hear some stuff and they're like, we're just going to move down like 50 yards. So we both moved down. We can't see each other. And then, yeah, we kind of, so the first time was on the beach in the moonlight in Montauk.
Wow. Okay, Nicholas Sparks. That's
Truly,
amazing.
Taylor Swift is gonna write a song about y'all.
Yeah, we set the bar high for each other the first time, but it hasn't dropped from that. I mean, that was an amazing time. And yeah, it just kind of was like, okay, we you know, are romantically compatible too, you know, because sometimes, like she said, you can get the ick after you like hook up and you're like, oh, that wasn't what I liked, or it was kind of weird. 100% was not the case. So
yeah, no icks.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Kory, thank you so much for stopping by and taking the time. It was great catching up with you. I can't wait to see your wedding with Sam play out.
I can't wait to see you at the gym in New York, because you're gonna help me get into shape, Kory.
Hey, we'll take some tequila shots before you work out. You know, I got you.
Done and done.
Thanks for having me on, guys.